What would happen if every volcano on Earth erupted simultaneously? The short answer is, you'd definitely miss your morning commute. Also, you probably want to cancel any outdoor wedding plans you might have. And while we're at it, you should probably cancel your indoor wedding plans too. Actually, just cancel everything. Well, that's not entirely accurate. At the risk of stating the obvious, the real answer involves a lot more than just missing your Tuesday yoga class. Let's start with some numbers that'll make your head spin faster than a tourist trying to take a selfie at Pompeii. There are roughly 1,500 active volcanoes on our planet right now. That sounds like a lot, but it gets worse when you realize there are also about 10,000 dormant volcanoes that could theoretically join the party. If they all decided to blow their tops at exactly the same moment, we'd be looking at the geological equivalent of every person on Earth simultaneously sneezing while holding a megaphone. The immediate problem wouldn't actually be the lava. Sure, lava is hot, about 1,200 degrees Celsius, which is roughly twice as hot as your oven when you're trying to make those fancy soufflés that always collapse anyway. But lava moves pretty slowly, usually about as fast as you walk when you're pretending not to see someone you know at the grocery store. Most people could outrun it, assuming they weren't dealing with all the other problems. The real trouble starts with the ash. A single major volcanic eruption can shoot millions of tons of ash into the atmosphere. Now, multiply that by 11,500 volcanoes. We're talking about roughly 50 billion tons of ash being launched skyward all at once. To put that in perspective, that's like taking every car on Earth, grinding it into powder, and launching it into the sky using the world's most destructive confetti cannon. This ash cloud would block out the sun faster than you can say, nuclear winter. Within hours, global temperatures would start dropping. Within days, we'd be looking at what scientists politely call a significant cooling event, which is academic speak for everyone should have invested in better winter coats. But wait, it gets more interesting. All that ash has to come down eventually, and when it does, it brings friends. Volcanic ash isn't like the soft, fluffy ash from your fireplace. It's actually tiny shards of glass and rock that can collapse roofs, clog engines, and turn your lungs into something resembling a very inefficient sandpaper factory. The atmospheric effects would be spectacular in the worst possible way. All those volcanoes would pump approximately 400 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, along with massive amounts of sulfur dioxide. The sulfur dioxide would react with water vapor to create sulfuric acid, which would fall back down as acid rain that could pickle a cucumber from 50 feet away. Meanwhile, the carbon dioxide would create a greenhouse effect. But here's the weird part, it wouldn't matter. The ash blocking the sunlight would be so effective at cooling the planet that we'd enter what's essentially an artificial ice age, regardless of how much CO2 we're pumping up there. It's like trying to warm your house by turning up the thermostat while leaving all the windows open during a blizzard. The electromagnetic effects would knock out most of our satellites and electronics. Lightning storms generated by all that volcanic activity would make Thor look like he's having a mild temper tantrum. GPS would stop working, which means half the world's population would immediately get lost trying to find their local Starbucks. Within a month, global agriculture would completely collapse. No sunlight means no photosynthesis, which means no plants, which means no food chain, which means everyone suddenly becomes very interested in those canned goods they've been ignoring in their pantry since 2019. The ocean temperatures would drop rapidly, causing massive die-offs of marine life. The ash falling into the oceans would turn them into something resembling a very large, very cold bowl of cement soup. After about 2 years of this volcanic winter, assuming humanity somehow managed to survive in underground bunkers while fighting over the last packages of instant ramen, the ash would finally start to settle. But by then, most complex life on Earth would have gone the way of the dinosaurs, except without the courtesy of a quick asteroid impact. The good news is that Earth would eventually recover. It always does. In a few million years, new species would evolve, and some future civilization might dig up our fossilized smartphones and wonder why we spent so much time staring at tiny screens instead of paying attention to all those perfectly good volcanoes. So, yes, if every volcano erupted at once, you definitely want to call in sick to work, permanently.